Lineage Peligro and Jack Grisham, people. Let's hear it. Let's hear it. Thanks for coming out, spending your Sunday with two of the West Coast originals. Both actually have two books out. Jack, Short Stories, Untamed, and DH, a couple months ago, Dreadnought, King of Afropunk. Dreadnought.
You want this book.
Very, very, very good reading from both. Would you guys like to read a little bit?
Can we just say hi for a second?
We're going to say hi. We'll take some questions.
Say hello.
Hey, thanks for coming. Right? Yeah, really? It's a little weird. I mean, you know, we got the homeless fucking next door washing their clothes. The problem. I'm thinking I'm over in the laundromat going, maybe Reagan wasn't so fucked up after all, man. So, anyway, whatever. I'm thinking I'm going to revise anything I'd written.
Some things never change.
No, they have not. No, but I think he caused the homeless problem.
They don't change, they just
It's a
move
joke. All
to
right, never mind. Yeah. Anyway, okay, that's enough. Is there anybody? Hello? Is there anybody here? Thank you, though. Right.
So we'll read a little bit or after a while, but you guys have any burning questions that's been burning you up for 35 years or so?
And Dale's,
Anybody? Or 10 years or 2 years or just yesterday or an hour ago?
and Dale's got stuff. If you want, whatever you want to do, Dale. Why don't you be in charge?
Without, I don't want to fuck up either of the, like give shit away in each book, but there are, there are little overviews I think everyone's going to enjoy as far as like what both authors put in both books, which is cool.
Ooh, who did all those notes?
That would be me, DH.
I'm curious to see what he marked.
See, this is where DH and I are actually with someone who does work.
It does work.
Who actually works and shows up prepared. So it's we're just got to get used to dealing with prepared people.
Organization.
Yeah, this all happened within the last 2 weeks, so don't expect Oscar quality material. You will find Oscar types of surprises, but they're going to be a lot better. I can guarantee you that for sure.
All right.
So, you guys want to read? Or you want to?
Yeah. Anything in particular you want? Well, DH, you want to go? You can go first. I'll go first. Whatever you want.
You got all those notes. I'm kind of.
You want me to start asking questions?
I want to hear the first DH question. That's what I want to hear.
Okay, what did I have here?
Well, you did homework too.
I didn't really do
Jack's
homework.
down, man.
I kind of read it.
It's like third grade all over again. I'm just sitting there with a bunch of fucking stolen stuff in my pocket.
I got a rock.
Yeah. What you get, baby? I got reprimanded earlier. Well, I was telling these guys a story because if you start writing books, punk rock's different than book writing stuff.
Yeah.
All of a sudden they think they're a better class of snob. I don't know what it is, man. And so I'm sitting with like these literary people, and something happened. It was something about the book. My book happened, and so I said, well, look, why don't we just do this? We can just steal it, and then we'll take it, and we'll run it over here, and we'll run it through a different press, and just call it a different name. We'll put it out down here under this, and then we'll be fine, and we'll make a lot of money, and fuck those people. And the guy looks at me and goes, whoa. He goes, we don't act like that in the literary world. Fuck, man. You don't act like that, you prick. Hey, what do you want? So whatever. My wiener just shriveled up. It's like, what am I? Yeah, all right. Sorry, kids. Anyway. Sorry. All right. Never mind. As we proceed.
Okay, so, well, I'll start reading something from Dreadnought. Okay, I drifted in and out of consciousness. Another nurse climbed on top of me and put her knees in my chest and grabbed a foot-long needle, pushed it into my chest, and she probed around at first, and it felt like I was meeting the ends of death through a samurai sword. She sighed in satisfaction, like, ha! I hit the right spot and I connected. And then the central tube line was inserted directly into my heart. It was flooded with this unbearable pain. I was like, what the fuck is this for? I asked her. She said, just lay still briskly. You're going to kidney dialysis in a little while. And I had three competing sites of pain as well as a tube in my heart. I had a catheter in my Johnson, and Magic Johnson, the basketball player. I'm looking at this little blue-eyed kid. Hey, what's a Johnson? Down there. It's gonna be like in the year 2013. And he probably knows more about it than I do. And yeah, and my leg was numb and throbbing, and it felt like pins and needles, and I was unable to feel anything but pain. I felt like 3 days before I came to, and they wheeled me down to a gurney in the kidney dialysis room. It was like a scene from the Night of the Living Dead. Like the dialysis room was dominated by a huge silvery white machine which sat in the middle humming and buzzing. It was like lines and series of pumps and filters and tubes, like a huge H.R. Geiger painting. And there was people lying everywhere in this room, and it was a hospital room, and people were lying on gurneys, and everybody was sucked up, weak, skinny, and shallow. It was pretty clear that my life was about to revolve around this dialysis room, and that's why everybody was in the room. I lay perfectly still on the gurney in a paper robe covered by a thin sheet. The machine began to pump, sucking the blood out of my body, sending it through a series of filters. As I watched, as my blood went into the machine and I fell into a deep, frigid frost, and my body felt like a corpse. And at that moment, I knew what it was like to be dead and to feel like I was dead. I lay there for an hour and a half watching them pump the blood into the machine and back into my body. It felt like an eternity. How we doing?
Good, good.
The level's good?
Yeah.
Level's good?
Thank you.
I was so disgusted by the blood, I finally disengaged the tube from my heart and wheeled me back into the room. The heart valve sticking out of my chest like an alien. From time to time, they would come and check it for infection. As far as I knew, I would have to do that for the rest of my life. And that was just one of the few series of just hells that I went through, that I put myself through. And there's a lot of good stuff and funny stuff and sex stuff in this book as well. And I'll pick through some of them, and you can ask me questions. But I try. Usually, I just like the dynamic, horrifying shit to just remind me of where I've been, and so I just keep that in the forefront of my mind. And that's on page 269, and it was like I overdosed, and I wound up in Cedars-Sinai, and I was in a kidney dialysis machine. I was in the hospital, and pretty much all the people there were going to be there for the rest of their lives. Once you damage your kidneys, you can't, they usually don't come back. You have to, 3 times a week, you have to go and get this blood, purified, that does all the stuff that your kidneys used to do. But that's where I was at that time. And as you can see, it got better. That's just one excerpt from Dreadnought.
See, so right after you read, you're supposed to stop and pause, and then we clap. And then
Oh,
you talk about it.
right. Okay, are we learning yet?
We're learning. See, and then we clap that you're still alive.
I remember that cliffhanger.
Hey!
So we can start yammering on about Johnson. That kid's gone now. It's been
There's a disclaimer, man. Full disclaimer about today.
Checked his pants and shuffled out the parking lot.
Hey, look at this. Wow. I'll be right back.
That Cedars, that was a chapter. Was that when you were having the compartmental shutdown? When you had renal?
Yeah.
And the doctor basically just told you.
He's like, hey,
Was it worth
we don't know. Yeah, he said, was it worth it? And they didn't know if you were going to walk again, if they were going to amputate my leg, which was one of the big things.
Because of the nerve, the sciatic nerve.
Yeah, but it's just a nerve, and it just atrophied all up, and it was just so swollen up that they had to slice both sides of the leg open, and just all the pus and shit just kind of dripped out. They had to do that for a couple of days, and then and it started looking better, but they just didn't know. They don't, there's just always that tightrope line where you just never know. You never know what's going to happen.
Gnarly.
And see, I'm pausing. Nobody's clapping.
Oh, the man can stand. The man can still play now.
Yeah, it's a Sunday in Huntington Beach, and you're dropping dick tails and telling us what you're
It's medieval Lansing tales of filth.
As the Grateful Dead would say, or the Popo Pies would say, a typical city involved in a typical daydream.
Yeah.
Right. I
Wow.
like this. Look at that.
Yeah.
Very sexy.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to get that. I'm going to have to get one of these.
Yes, it's very good. It's a good book.
Okay, what's his name again?
Dale.
Dale. Dale. Sorry, I just got here.
It's been a while. We run into each other.
Come on, this is fun.
I've probably known him half my life.
Yeah.
You know.
I couldn't hear your name over the loud punk rock that was playing that day.
Jack?
Are you pointing at me? Yeah. Okay. I'm thinking. This is. I'm. Yes.
Please.
I can just tell you that this, the one I just did, this book. It's. The guy was. I just came out of a bad relationship, like really bad, like beyond bad. Like there's bad, and then you go deeper than bad, whatever that is. Like you go past like 5150 calls and go really deeper, like you know. Like where my ex is calling the police and saying I tried to run her over with the car and stuff. So, you know, they're contacting me about, you know, potential attempted murder charges. And then she was cheating on me with women that were like way more masculine than I am. Because I'm not like a very masculine man. You know what I'm saying? I guess sometimes. Maybe some people say I am. I picture myself as an old woman right now. But.
Jack!
So anyway, so a lot of this is there's a lot of like heavy anger and stuff coming out of it, and I'll just read a little bit about it. So, and this is also the first thing where I started like dealing into real fiction. I mean, I know I'm a liar, like I've lied all the time, but this is like, okay, let's really write lies down. And then it's funny because the lies actually came out more honest than anything I've said when I'm trying to tell the truth. So I don't know how that works. Anyway, okay. So, and there's a little sexism and kind of whatever stuff in here, but it's not in a mean. Yes, it is mean. All right.
Don't take it personal.
All right. Richard cowered behind the small chain link fence. He was in danger of getting beaten, stomped to death, actually, by the large bulldyke Margaret and her companion Ida. The ladies were a pair of what the small men in the neighborhood called battle dykes, a couple of large, cruising thugs who would like nothing more than to have a bit of brutal sport with a gentle man like Richard. And Richard was also in a gang of sorts, or a protection society, a group of Nancy boys who figured they'd better band together before they were ripped apart. Richard closed his eyes and held his breath. He was hoping for safe passage. No such luck. Well, look at here. One of the dykes grabbed Richard by the neck and hoisted him over the fence like a plucked flower shaking dirt from its stem. What you got, Margaret? Her companion jumped in and on. Looks like I got me a little ass cleaner with a real sweet mouth. She made Richard pucker by squeezing his cheeks hard. What do you say, little lady? I'm a man, damn it. You let me go. Richard hung from her hand, kicking and squirming in the air. Let me go, he screamed. Let me go. So anyway. Well, you know what's fucked up? I grew up on, I grew up on R. Crumb stuff, you know. It's like I had a sister that was a hippie. So if you ever look at R. Crumb stuff, he's yeah, well,
big ass comics.
Yeah, he's a little man. He's a little skinny, goggly. I don't even wear glasses. These are fake. I don't, you know what I mean? There's no lens in here. But I feel like if you're writing books, you need to have glasses on for some reason. It's like so in all the Art Crumb stuff, there's the little skinny guy, and then there's the big-breasted, huge Amazon women that are always kicking his ass and making him do shit. So there's a little bit snuck into this story, with Richard and the Battle Dykes. And it's like, and I can say that we're dyke because I'm a lesbro. That's do you know what that is?
A lesbro.
Yeah, no, it's like a lot of people don't know it, but like when I was like a kid, they call them like, oh, you're a fag hag because you're a girl that hangs with gay guys, and I'm a straight man that hangs with lesbians.
It's called Dutch boys.
Oh, really?
We looked it up one day.
I thought that was a hairdo.
That almost looks like
Kind of like her hairdo, yeah.
So it's funny. So I realized, like my business manager, my best friend, my girlfriend, they were all lesbians, and then it was me hanging out with them. And then my business manager one day goes, we call you a lesbro. What you fucking... Anyway, so whatever. So that's what that is. So, all right, enough of that. Let's go back to seriousness.
Seriousness.
This is Huntington Beach, after all.
Did anyone else, because before I was going to ask DJ actually a question.
DH.
Sorry. It's been a long week, Jack. Remember, I'm working and then I come home and work it right if you...
It's okay, I just found out your name. Gail.
DM.
Yeah, the music was loud, Hale.
Gail.
Gail.
I
Crystal
know my
Gail.
Gail's name. What be the question, man?
DH, I had no idea, because my dad was a big R&B fan, and jazz, blues, early rock and roll. Explain a little bit to the people about your lineage with your uncle and your grandfather.
Yeah.
I mean, it's important, because to me it's all 6 degrees, even getting back to punk rock.
My uncle was Sam Carr, and he was one of the blues. He's a very famous blues musician, by the way. And to me, he was always just my uncle. And so, like, when I started doing some research for the book, and I started remembering stuff that I would like in my childhood, and like he was my big musical influence, and he had like drums and bass and guitar and piano, and he could play all that shit. And he would, he just lived in this little shack, and it was fucking cotton fields and corn and pecan tree. They call them pecans. And with the cicadas, the whole night, just deep South Mississippi. And now, his father was Robert Nighthawk, who was supposed to be he was the first guy to ever play slide guitar. Ever pick up the bottleneck and I wrote a song about it. Like here you go. Right? He was that guy. Like, and I'm like, wow, I'm kind of related to this guy. And not only that, it was like Eric Clapton, Mick Jagger, Jimmy Page. All those guys went from England to the South to like learn like this new blues music. And like he was one of the guys who they visited his house. And also, I don't know if that got in the book too. Like,
supposedly, someone said that Muddy Waters caught his slide.
Caught the slide from Robert Nighthawk, who was Uncle Sam's father, right? And Muddy Waters took that, and you know what happened to Muddy Waters. If you don't, look it up.
Yeah.
and also, that something that didn't make it into the book is like when Samuel L. Jackson was doing Black Snake Moan. He went out and hung out with my Aunt Doris so he could get this whole like Mississippi lingo, and she was just cool, and I was talking to her about the book, and she was just like, oh, he was so nice, he was just so nice, he was just, and he handsome too, he was so nice, handsome. He said, but Morgan Freeman, he an asshole. Like, that's how the family is. They give you the information you don't want, you don't ask for. And my mother would actually hold back a lot of information that would give me the one-word answers. But my Aunt Doris was married to my Uncle Sam, and she had diabetes, which runs in my family, diabetes, and she just lost both her legs, and she was in a wheelchair, and she was just telling me, I think she knew she was going to die because she was just telling me everything that my mother wouldn't tell me, and who my real father was, and like all the shit that I didn't know, that I just didn't know, and it was very emotional. And she just told me all these stories, and some of them made them into the book, and I'm telling you some of them now.
But Sam was like, he was the first guy, because I remember you said he planted the seed, like you actually picked up a pair of sticks, his pad out on the
right. Because when I was a little kid, he just the reverberations of the guitar and the drum, it was just, I was an ADD kid, go figure, right? Hyperactive attention deficit disorder kid, and that was like music and musical vibrations was the one thing that could just like take my attention, and like I could focus on this. Like I kind of like I'm in the crosshairs on this. It was the one thing that would steal me, and that's and I had a lot of energy, and that's why punk rock sort of fit that energy level, but yeah, he was the very first, my very first introduction to any musical instruments, and the thing is, they just lived so primitive and so poor, and they were always kind of taken care of. They want some food, they fish in the creek. They want some heat, they go chop some wood and put it in the potbelly stove. You want to take a dump, you go to the outhouse.
The outhouse. Oh. The living squishing sound of the outhouse.
Yes, squiggling snakes. Yeah. And but you have to read the book. if you want all the information, all the dirty information. But yeah, he was my very first musical influence, and I would see him play, and he was 80 years old by this time, and he was just killing it, just on, he wouldn't think about it. He'd just get up there and just do a blues shuffle, and like never, him and Jack Johnson and Frank Frost. He played with these guys, and that's the weird thing. Is like blues gave birth to rock and roll, which had to be downgraded for punk rock, and like that lineage was passed from him to me to the fucking world, man. And I think about all the shit that I got from my parents and that I didn't get from my parents, but the one thing I did get was that gift from him, and just the love and appreciation of music, which lets me be here today, man.
Right, because your dad was a guitar player.
Yeah, I found that out. But like, I didn't grow up with him.
Right.
He wasn't my,
Right.
he was my biological father, but I grew up with this high yellow stepfather.
High yellow.
High yellow.
Kidding.
High yellow. We don't act like that around here, man. This is the literary world. Yeah, my stepfather, and then I found out I had another father who was a guitar player. Another father, yeah, it's funny. I was kind of became okay finally, like knowing, like, oh, well, fuck, I'm supposed to be a musician. I'm supposed to play. I'm supposed to do this. And I thought it was important to put all this down and get into the book.
No, because it's a great like preamble into like how like anybody that writes like a music, like Jeff.
He just
like,
died, by the
how you
way,
get into
too.
music. Like this guy.
Yeah, and the high yellow sitting
The
next
high
to
yellow.
You know what's there's a lot of brutality in here too that was like passed on through my family, and I just saw 12 Days a Slave last night, and it was like all that childhood shit came up, like the beatings that I was like, I would get the shit beat out of me, because number one, I couldn't sit still. Number two, I just had this belief that, like, slave traders passed this down to my parents, and they passed it down to me, and that was just all they were taught. And there was just like some brutal scenes, and I was just fucking my ass sphincter was pulling the fiber off the seat. I was like, oh. Yeah, the grippins. Don't get with the grippins. My grippins was wow.
You gotta read the book.
Wow.
I gotta tell you what the grippins are.
Yeah.
Because you make a good point about like the violence, especially with your mom. But it was kind of weird because she was cool about you when you first started seriously playing down in the basement.
Yeah. She would let me
That
play.
was the one thing she let you.
Yeah.
She was cool with.
Yeah, that was. So there was the yin and yang. There was the good points and the bad point. And I would maybe always talk about the bad shit, but there was a lot of light there too. And like me, she was just being very loving and like allowing. A lot of people don't get to do that. You have to. I don't know how you do it. You have to go to school or do something, But to be able to play drums in my house with 5 brothers and sisters, because drums are very loud instruments. They're just fucking loud. It just overtakes the whole house, and they would just kind of like ignore it for like 5 or 6 hours, and my mom would just let me do it, and I love that about her. Jack?
No, I was just listening. I grew up with a bunch of fucked white people. But they did the same thing. White slave traders. They did the same thing. Like I'm listening to DH, like I got 5 brothers and sisters too, right? I'm sitting there going, fucking A, man. And then yeah, I do, yeah. And then and my mother wouldn't tell me anything either. I'm trying to think, because DH and I have something else in common, right? I mean, there's both extra something in common. So I'm thinking, God, maybe that's why we're fucked up. Maybe that's why. But my mother, like, people would die in the family, and she wouldn't tell me. It's like, and then I'd ask about somebody. Like, oh, fuck, where's Al been? Just quiet. I go, what? It's like it's my mother's brother, right? I go, what's going on? She goes, he died. I go, what? When did he fucking die? She goes, I didn't want you to get all upset. And I used to get my ass kicked, beaten thoroughly, constantly from my own man, because I had the same thing. A little ADHD, little problem there. Couldn't sit still, fucking, that kind of thing. And I was pissed at him for a while, And now that I got 5 kids, I think I would have beat my fucking ass too, man. Anyway, all right, enough of that.
You have 5 kids?
Well, I got 5 now.
Wow.
I had 2, and then I got 3 added on, so from 25 to 5. Now, I'll tell you a funny story. The little boys are killer. They're 8-year-old twins, right? And they're fun as shit. And I don't know if you ever dealt with identical twins, but it's like gay gladiator school, man. It's like, you know, they're doing some shit. You know what I'm saying? There's some stuff going on there. Whatever's happening. So, and then the one kid comes up and goes, I hear you used to get in a lot of fights, Pops. I go, yeah. He goes, was it fun? I go, yeah. Sometimes it was fun. I go, you know, you can use any part of your body to hurt somebody. I go, you use your thumb. You know, because they like that shit. They're boys, right? I go, you use your elbow, you back your hand, you use your thumb. He goes, any part? I go, fuck yeah, any part. He goes, what about your balls? I go, yes. I go, yeah, McGowan. I go, I can't tell you how many people I have choked to death with my balls. Which is funny now, right? Then we're all sitting at the table eating, and Grandma's there and shit, and everyone else is there. And McGowan goes, you know, Popsy's choked people to death with his balls. Yeah, whatever. You know, he's going to grow up, and then all of a sudden, I think I was abused. Anyway, sorry. All right, never mind.
That's so endearing, Popsy.
Pops.
Popsy.
They call me Pops. And then if they're mad at me, they call me Jack. It's like Jack, you know, but it's Pops. My daughters call me Pops, too. It's just, you know, hey, Pops. And then my daughter's friend called me Pops last night. I was a little upset about that. Whatever. All right.
You know I have a twin sister. Yeah, I have a twin sister.
Identical?
No, it's fraternal. We favor, but she's like
Sound like an Adam Sandler kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she looks more like a linebacker than I do.
Yeah.
But yeah, she was the calm kid, and I was a hyper kid.
Yeah.
So she got to go to college, and I got to go to the school of punk rock.
Yeah, that's what I got. Everyone else in my family's successful. Yes. Whatever you're measuring success on.
Right. I'm alive another day, so it's pretty successful.
DH, actually, speaking of like kids and teenage kids, 15 years old is when you started drinking. I noticed in the book.
That was when I had
you were
my
like
first,
playing in the rock bands.
rock bands.
Tell everybody the mini bike story.
The what?
The mini bike story. The first night you got. That's that one we can let go. That's the one
That's the one we can let go.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I prefer the story of when I got drunk at the keg party. Huh?
Wait.
That?
No, hold on. No, hold on, Jack. It actually made me go, go ahead, dude.
Ah, sons of bitches, man. That's not good.
Mini bike story. I just got drunk. I drank 3 beers and I stole somebody's mini bike and chased this girl down. I was like, "Give me the pussy! Give me some pussy!" But here's a better story. There you go. I'm in the backyard. We're at a keg party. So I'm drinking. I'm drunk. You know, and so I gotta pee, and there's a big line for the bathroom, and I was in. Then obviously everything went black. So I don't know what happened, but I apparently scaled the fence and went into the neighbor's house of the keg party in the backyard, and I walk into the back door. They're sitting around. Now I vaguely remember this. Now they were watching TV. And they were like, you know, it was like old white dude with the family. And I just walked in the back door. This is St. Louis, where like people got guns and like, I don't know how I got away with this, but they were watching TV, like Leave It to Beaver or something, and I just looked at him with this blank stare and went to the refrigerator and made a sandwich. Just made it right there, and I made a sandwich, and then I sat down on the couch and ate it. Well, they called the police. Cops came and took me away. I was like, "Why the fuck are you guys doing it to me? What? It's because I'm black." Walked into somebody's house and you stole their bologna. Oh. Lord have mercy. Being alive another day is really good. Okay, Gail.
Jack, when this is actually one of my favorites, and I told Jack this earlier on. The deconstructing God story.
Yeah, well, I'd like to talk about something else.
No.
It's a good one, but we'll talk about something else.
No,
Joe.
no,
Go fuck
no, come on.
yourself.
No, I don't care. Go on. Yeah. Yeah. Or you asked me, and that's the question. All right. Anyway, whatever. There's a story. I'll read just a little bit of it.